The sound of the final buzzer means it's hangover time. So grab a drink and join your host, Alphonse Sidney, for a Miami Heat Beat post-game show.
Heat win! Heat win! What a dump from a city, man. Oh my God, those people were excited because RJ Barrett had 30 in the half. Did you see what happened when he had a real defender on him? Did you see what happened when Bam took up his assignment? Did you see because he wasn't picking on little old Gabe Vincent? Did you see what happened when an All-NBA Defensive Player of the Year defender was on him? Nothing! 50-point loss! The Knicks fans were like, can you talk about us more? Please, ESPN, talk about us more! Your goddamn garbage franchise is on television on a Friday night, and you think that you deserve more than that? I don't want to watch your eyesore. I had to watch the worst dunk contest on earth, in part because your awful Obi Toppin was in it, and you want us to watch more? You want us to consume more of that? Of course not, because your team's a dump. You are fighting for the 13th seed with the Indiana Pacers, who are garbage, who have never won a thing in their putrid lives. That is what you are doing. You are a nothing irrelevant franchise, and you will be for the rest of time. Do you know why? Because you're run by incompetent morons. We have Pat fucking Riley. We have Mickey Harrison, who's the goddamn best owner in American sports. We have Jimmy Butler. You have Julius Randle, who went like 2 for $1 million because he stinks. And you gave him $1 million-a-year contract and you can't get rid of him. Riley got rid of Dion Waiters and James Johnson with the fucking flap of a hand because he's good at his job. That's why the Heat win. That's why the Heat win titles. You know, we don't throw confetti because we win one game in the first round. We throw confetti because we win championships. And we ride a fucking parade down one of the most beautiful streets in America because we're winners. Because we hang banners. We have trophies in the 21st century when television has color. Because we are a real fucking franchise. Take me out, Brass.
Yes.
Heat fight.
Poetic. Poetic.
Man.
You got anything left, G?
I have a whole show, man. Fuck them. I hate them. They suck. I hate Knicks fans. They're so annoying.
Kemba's the answer, though. It's cool. He's gonna like.
Where was he? Where Kenny? I didn't. Kenny. I checking the box score. I can't. Did he play today? Maybe because he's really short. I didn't see him. I can't see the DMP mutual agreement not to play. Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that.
Yeah, pretty wild, man.
Very interesting.
Very, very interesting.
Very interesting. Well, Brass, listen, we have a full panel here. It's Friday night. Let's find out what the fuck everyone's drinking.
All right.
Shout out to Sean Lati for the tier 1 sub. We appreciate that. Cal AU subscribed with Prime. And even before the show, Italian Tommy 305 subscribed with Prime. And Eric the Great subscribed at tier 2. They've been subscribed for 17 months. Can we give a round of applause for Eric the Great? Truly one of the OGs of this incarnation of Miami Heat Beat. And if you have Amazon Prime, you are eligible for a free subscription. That means no commercials, and you have access to all our great emotes. So the link to that is in chat. If you are on YouTube watching, make sure to tune in to this show live on twitch.tv/Miami Heat Beat. We're on before every game with the Weird Off pregame show and Hangover Time. This is postgame on our Twitch page.
G, answer this question.
At his absolute peak, was Julius Randle ever better than Omer Yurtseven? Of course not. Did Omer Yurtseven go 2 for 15? No. Would you rather have? I'd rather have Yurtseven. I'm not even gonna lie. He's the future. Perfect front court partner for Bam.
Genuinely, I'd rather have Yurt. I think Yurt plays a big part in the future. I'm being serious.
I do too. A lot of Heat Twitter would rather have him than Bam too. It's a different conversation.
Get out of here.
Let's not even talk to them.
All right, Siobhan. Yeah. What are you drinking this fine Friday evening?
I have some 1792 here.
What's the good stuff?
It is in my small little
snifter.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Very nice.
And various fluids and coconut water, vitamin water.
Mr. Super Producer, Brassjazz.
Tonight I made myself in honor of Black History Month. I made myself and the Knicks a Black Manhattan.
I thought this was gonna go somewhere else.
which is rye, which is some rye whiskey, Amaro Averna, and Angostura bitters and orange bitters.
Black Manhattan. That's the only one that matters.
Press 1 in chat if you were thinking what I was thinking.
Press one.
Schmandy Smellisberg gifted a tier 1 sub to the community, and Brian M, our shadow producer, just gifted 10 tier 1 subs.
Hey, Brian.
And Schmandy Smellisberg just gifted another one. So shout out to the community on big wins.
It's growing.
This is what we got. Brass, you want to hit us one time?
Hit him one time with a bing bang.
Fuck your life, bing bang.
You know what he's drinking?
Gianni, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a rum and coke. Quick eulogy to Baby Bottle, but I am gonna get another one tomorrow. I'm sorry. I like him, man. But tonight, rum and coke. My player of the game, I'm going with Jimmy. He changed the game. I'll explain that later because the chat be saying I talk too much, and I do, but I also be drunk, so it makes sense. But player of the game,
off those little bottles.
Butler.
Another
Hey, man, I'm a
conversation.
lightweight. Yeah, player of the game, Jimmy Butler, and also I just want to add, Julius Randle fucking stinks. Take me out, Bryce.
Stinks.
Not good. Not good.
He is, man.
Not good.
I'm doing my new favorite thing, which is tequila with this Fever Tree grapefruit fizzy thing. It's great. It's like 30 calories. I just put 2 shots of tequila in it, and I drink it. It's wonderful. Yeah.
I love it.
My player of the game is actually, surprisingly, RJ Barrett for the content. I mean, listen, he's a content machine for us. I mean, he provides us with more content than some Heat players. I'm not going to lie. So shout out to RJ for, despite stinking it up for a garbage franchise, for truly just being a content machine for us. So thanks, RJ.
Yeah, props to RJ. I mean, yeah, we've had some incredible moments. We had a lot of people adding us today, saying that he's seen our Black and Time thing. So I mean, yeah, just some of this shit. We've had some fun, man.
RJ's. Do you have the one? Do you have the shoe one?
That one is a great one.
That's the best one, I think. The shoe,
I do love this one, man.
that one's no.
Jesus Christ.
No, but Brass, keep it there. The one that makes it is the guy in the front. Can you put that back up? The guy in the very front, and that's the guy in that Nick video, the one from the after they won against the Celtics, when he's like, "KD, don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?" That guy's
That's my display name right now.
Jesus,
Perfect.
Mero, and him are the only 3 Knicks fans on earth that I like.
Shout out these.
Yeah.
Come on, Hangover Time.
Sleeping is.
Oh, come on, don't do that to Adam.
Oh shit.
All right, well, we did have a basketball game today. Siobhan, Jimmy looked like he had a little too much fun at the Bahamas. Slow start for them. We were talking a little pregame, like right before we started, rather. We kind of were talking like it's kind of a weird game. It felt like they sleepwalked through most of that game, and they still won by 15. I kind of think that's a good sign more than anything that, they can go into, not that they should build bad habits, but that they could go into an opponent's building, really not give their best effort or play their best game and come out, with a 15-point win.
Well, with respect to your entire opening rant, right, let's keep in perspective who this team was that we just went in and were able to do that with. Not that they won't be able to do that should they need to summon that, that ability in the coming future or whatever. But like you said, the fear is in building bad habits and getting comfortable doing things that may not ultimately lead you to where you want to be or just not being sharp or not being locked in. I think they had a slow start, like you said. Jimmy had a slow start. I think the lineups are still trying to figure themselves out. I've had some ideas and some feelings on some things that I'd like to see, and I think some things that look good. But yeah, the fact that I guess you could say that it felt like they sleptwalked to a 50-point win is a good thing. But I don't want them to get comfortable at all with that notion. They need to go out. They need to compete. They need to get back. And not get back is the very first game off a break. I understand. But get back to, professional wins. Shitty teams, blow them out. Competitive teams, tighten up your tie, stiffen your shoulders, and go handle business. And so tonight they got off to a, like you said, a slow start, came around, won convincingly. We'll see what they look like tomorrow.
So, listen, and sometimes players get really hot. Players have these games, and sometimes they're just they can be unstoppable. But
there's a wave, there's a juice that you just kind of catch, and you're just kind of there.
Right, but if that didn't happen, it just we would see this happen with Melo sometimes, right? Yeah. Melo would sometimes go off, but then we'd still end up whooping the rest of the team as a whole. So I'm not taking too much from it. It was an annoying game, but we made it through. I know it's a week off for just about everybody, so. It is what it is. And on the plus side, we have a back-to-back. We play the Spurs tomorrow, but they just went double overtime against the Wizards tonight, I think.
Yes.
And so, I think they ended up putting up 157, I think.
Like 140.
Whatever.
Jesus
it was
Christ.
wild.
So
that's good. So they're going to be playing a pretty worn-down team that isn't good at full strength this year. So they really have no excuse tomorrow night.
Is that game in Miami?
153.
Nuts.
157, 153. Is that game in Miami? I think it's in Miami, right?
It is.
I think they come back. Yeah. So Spurs are going to be
two home games in a row, man. Look at that. That's sweet.
Let's talk about that. Let's go Heat chants loud and live in the Garden. That's some shit you see at Nets games. Kenny, I know you love it. That's some shit you see in gentrified Brooklyn where all the hipsters have taken over that neighborhood, and now it's seeped into MSG where these people have framed Knicks fans as the heart and soul of New York City, which you can't be heart and soul of New York City to get into that fucking building. It's so fucking expensive, right? And they're all Heat fans now.
And so that's like chef's kiss because half of New York moved down to South Florida because they want to get rid of the cold and the rats and all that other stuff I don't feel like getting into. And so they pack Heat games and they have the little bullshit cheers and they always, we took over the arena. You didn't. And so now we're hearing Let's Go Heat chants loud as hell in the Garden twice. The Knicks get cooked in the Garden once again. That's what they're known for. They won a last championship and listened to some brand new OJs. I'm not trying to hear shit from them. We're good. Heat and whatever. I'm kind of drunk already. But the point is,
we love it.
Yeah, but the point is, Heat fans took the Garden over, and it's gonna stay that way. Yeah, poor Spike Lee.
Fuck your life, bing bang.
Oh, look who we got here,
live on the scene.
Not his clutch shirt.
Am I coming in clear?
You sure are.
Am I
coming in clear?
You are.
Oh, my hair, yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
What's it like riding Jimmy Butler's trains? He owns the city now. Him and Bam.
All I know is
Tiff.
I don't know what the hell I just watched. Knicks fans leaving early. Spike Lee had his head in his hands, and Julius Randle can't dribble right.
Not right. Is he left-handed?
Tiff,
That's
chat
all I
saying that
know.
you have a better connection than Kenny from a Subway.
Damn, bing bong.
Fuck your life.
She would have done this from the Garden, but Dolan can't afford any Wi-Fi over there.
Yeah. I'm out here. I'm. That's right. I took the train. Think I'm taking my car in there? Come out with no wheels? Hell no.
Tiff, what'd you make of the Let's Go Heat chants? How loud were they?
Oh, they were loud to the point where Knicks fans started leaving.
They left?
They left early. Real early. All I know is, I'm gonna tell y'all this though. Woo-wee. Somebody emancipated RJ Barrett. Because that kid was in his bag tonight. I mean, it was 1-on-5, but he was in his bag. I'm gonna give him a little props. I gave him a little sweet, but the Garden is a shithole. My seat was sticky. My water bottle looked cheap. I don't know what the hell's going on in that place. James Dolan must be collecting benefits because that shit looked horrible. That's all I know. I ain't get to have a drink. I had to watch that shit sober. So you tell me, who winning? Not me.
Shout out to Tiff in the N95. Being good Samaritan, getting good quality masks. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Gianni.
Huh?
Nothing.
They're hard to find.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm on the show. Now. Let's keep it going. Keep it going.
Okay, so we were talking about Brass's computer was bugging, so he's coming back in a second. We were talking Kenny. We were talking about the chance. They, and let's talk about kind of the shift in where the Knicks were and where they are compared to the Heat, because I do find that interesting, and I do think the two franchises are super intertwined, right? So obviously they have their rivalry in the 90s, and I think Brass is somebody who could speak to this pretty well too. The Heat and the Knicks had the rivalry in the 90s, and pretty much since then the Heat have dominated the league. The Knicks have not done anything since, and it's truly a testament to Riley got here from that franchise and completely flipped this city around truly to a basketball town. As much as football people want to say, the Dolphins haven't been good. The Dolphins literally have not won a playoff game since Dwayne Wade walked through that building. And the Canes haven't done anything either, right, since that time. So, Brass, it's pretty remarkable how, the two franchises from that point where they were on top of the league went completely different directions.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one thing that I love so much about Riley. And I think this organization, I mean, they were around, they were established before Riley got there, obviously. But since then, Riley left New York in such an angry, petty kind of way. And then he built the culture of the Miami Heat based off of that pettiness, right? So I think that's why it's in my fucking veins, just the anger and hatred for other teams, disdain for other organizations. I think that's really based off of Pat Riley, because he did it and succeeded unbelievably well at that. And if you talk to most Knicks fans, they will tell you that if Pat Riley stuck around, they know they would have won rings. They know it. And they know it's because Pat left that they didn't. And that's fucking beautiful. I love that. I love hearing that every time. It excites me every single time a Knicks fan tells me that. So yeah, it's totally remarkable. Ever since those days, I mean, they have flourished when the Knicks have floundered. And even in the Heat's down years, they rarely got that down. Yeah. Right? They rarely got that down. And the Knicks, you look at that Linsanity run, how many games did that last?
15.
Did it even last that many?
I mean,
it was not. Yeah, it was.
It lasted however long Norris Cole and Chalmers.
It was like nothing. It was a flash in the pan, and they still talk about those days. They still cherish those days. Were those really much better than the fucking Deion Waiters game winners? If we're really being honest,
no.
Not really.
30-11. Teams were actually scared of us.
Right. So, I mean, our 30-11, which half of our fans look back at, and they're kind of pissed off at the organization for winning those games. So, whereas Linsanity, they all embrace it and they love it. They're all, oh, yeah, man, wasn't that amazing? Yeah, it's it was fucking hilarious when it all completely fell apart and you have been irrelevant ever since. It's a fucking wrap, New York.
The Knicks, to that point about it being a lot of the Pat effect, right? For that fan to say, we know that if Pat would have stayed around, we would have won rings. That's just they haven't not had talent walk through their doors. They didn't we say what we want about Melo, make the jokes or whatever. Melo's talented. Just all this team now is talented. Like all of the people, like they've had enough to not look the way that they look. Like E. Reed started the broadcast. I love the way that his shade has matured this season. Like it's just so smooth and so calm. Like it really almost feels like he doesn't know that he's being shady, and that is the best type of shady.
He's having a career year. He's
And
truly
like in the 76th year of the Knicks, they have 3 such and such. I forget what it was. And then they like put a shot up to the banners and was like, "Yep, the banners are celebrating this." Like, I forget what he said verbatim, but it was fucking beautiful. And it's just like, yeah, like you had talent, but like really to speak of like organizationally how things are run from like a top down perspective, which shit like this like actually matters.
Well, and do not discount what G said before. Mickey Arison is one of the better owners in the league, and that is really. It's really the bigger problem.
The collective like nucleus of the front office.
I want James Dolan to stick around forever.
Oh, forever,
forever, please.
Because if he leaves, it's gonna be like, oh man, god damn it. Now they'll start to like kind of be on the upswing, you know. But I mean, he's awful. Jim Dolan is fucking terrible, and he knows he's terrible, and he still doesn't care. And also, you look at like they've had moments where they could have, where they think as an organization, oh, okay, we have reached another stepping point to greatness, and oh, we got Phil Jackson. In Phil we trust, they're saying, in Phil we trust. Phil Jackson didn't do shit. And the only thing that Phil Jackson did with any success was getting Porzingis. And then even in the end, Phil kind of fucked that up, and then
racism scandal.
Shipped him out, and then he had the whole racism. It's oh my god, that's literally all Phil had.
You know how terrible of an organization you have to be to ruin Phil Jackson's reputation,
right? I mean, like, just Jesus not anyone. Just listen, Phil Jackson is an all-time great coach. Right? I mean, even though he did kind of go into 2 situations with an okay squad, you know, but still he's done amazing things, right? But like just because you can do good in one aspect of the NBA does not mean just because you're a good coach does not mean you're going to be good in the operations of a team.
Yep.
It doesn't translate that way. It really doesn't.
More time it doesn't. Like more often than not it doesn't. Yeah.
Right.
Unless it's Pat Riley. Who, by the way,
one of the few exceptions, yeah.
So a real underrated petty Pat Riley move towards the Knicks. Remember, Braz, he turned Anthony Mason into an all-star.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that pettiness. I love Linsanity ending in Miami. And I'm not sure what Jeremy Lin's doing with his life right now. He probably works at Best Buy or some shit. But shout out to him.
Again, he had some injuries, you know, and it's not even like shade on Jeremy Lin because he went through some shit. And listen, players in the NBA are also fucking some racist ass players that he's play with. So he's been through some shit. So I don't necessarily want to make this about like, you know, I'm not like anti Jeremy Lin. However, it's just like when a player
happiness.
When a player heats up like that, and they tend to flame out very quickly. Yeah. I just think I've said it many times, and I still am astounded at. I don't know if there has been a combo of Coach of the Year and Most Improved Player of the Year that have taken simultaneous turns the next season, like Tibbs and Julius Randle. It's pretty sad.
Listen,
what you got?
I'm gonna tell y'all from looking up close, Julius Randle is their biggest problem.
Oh yeah.
I watched him walk down the court. I watched him give up on plays. I didn't realize he didn't know how to go. He doesn't know how to go right. He literally will not go right to the basket. He won't use the right hand. He won't do any of it. He is their biggest problem. He doesn't recognize mismatches. He doesn't realize that if Gabe is guarding you, get in the post, not the middle of the lane.
Yeah.
No one posts up in the middle of the lane. Like, who the hell you think you are, Kareem? No, you're not. Get in the post, get on the low block. Like, he just doesn't have basic ball awareness. So to me, he's their biggest problem. And I think their unwillingness to build from the ground up is what keeps kicking them in the ass. Like
Yeah.
they threw all that money at Randle without actually evaluating the entire team. Because if you evaluate the entire team, no shade, even though, RJ looked like he wrote the Declaration of Independence, he's their best player.
Yeah.
He is.
And that's probably why Julius is so disappointing, because he looks like he should be able to do these things.
Yes.
And like he has the tools, the makeup, and yet like you said, bad basketball IQ, bad like motor, just the whole thing.
The thing I want to say about Julius Randle, though, is same thing he did last year. He had done before on the contract year, and the Knicks just fell for it for whatever reason. Like, we've seen the difference with Julius Randle, and I don't really. So first of all, he was shooting out of his mind last year. I don't know how that happened, but there's that one clip Knicks fans always show, to like he's hustling back on defense when he really didn't even have to, and it's like, oh, we miss him so much. Like, nah, he was trying to get paid. I respect it, but the Knicks didn't have to do all that.
It was a lot. There's a lot of factors, and a lot of it, like the Knicks had like fucking how much? They had like a year off, pretty much. Right. I mean, they had a very extended break because they weren't in the bubble. They were bad enough, so they weren't even. They had no bubble, and then it wasn't a year, but it was a long time. And then also, a lot of people talk about it is the money thing as well. Yeah. But then a lot of people talk about the New York media and like the coverage of it, and they will eat players alive. They really will. They'll praise you when you're up and they'll trash you when you're down. But I think it's even more than that, because it's not just the New York media, it's the national media. Because whenever a Knicks player, if they wipe their ass perfectly, they're gonna get a headline, and they're gonna boost them up, and it's hard. I think it's we talk about the emotional toll on players and like how they're covered and how people talk about them and the ups and downs mentally. I think that takes a toll. I think when you're told you're the most improved player in the league and you come out and then, he had a really good year last year. Like, I'm not even going to shit on it at all. He had a really, really solid year. And then, but I think we were praising that. We were acknowledging that, but then saying, whoa, like, players can have good years. But then when you come out and then, and you don't have that extended rest, and then the team didn't get any better. The team, they were talking about all these fixes, and like Kemba didn't fix shit. It was not good. The situation is not good, and he looks defeated out there. He looks absolutely defeated. He could still do some good games every now and then, but like, you're right, Tiff. He's out there moping. He's like Hassan Whiteside without a sense of humor out there. He just looks miserable, and he doesn't have those kind of joyful moments.
Right. And to your point, I don't know if you guys saw it, because I don't know if it was a break or what, but there was a point in the game he turned and started yelling at fans on the side.
Wouldn't be his first time.
I want to get into
started
that.
Pointing and was yelling at fans. So that's a big deal. All of that plays into the
Heat
psyche.
lifer.
And he is showing that he just can't handle, mentally, he can't handle the load of being that guy.
So let's switch gears from the Knicks a little bit.
Kenny wanted to make a point real quick.
Kenny,
I did want to say one last thing about that, right? And so, while it is fair to criticize Julius because he should be mentally stronger than that, the fans and the media also kind of have to blame themselves for the Knicks, because the way the league runs now, players bring other players to the team. So why would Julius Randle ever say, "Hey, I played AAU with this other star player, I'm gonna try to bring him over here. I'm friends with this guy, I'm gonna bring him over here"? I mean, you're making him feel like shit there, and you was just loving him last year. He's not doing that to his friends.
He looks smelly. Would you want to be friends with him? I ain't trying to be friends with people that smell. Kidding me?
But that's the point. Like, he's not bringing anybody over there to help the team now, and so the fans and the media just ruined that for if they want the Knicks to get better. Also, you're talking about a team that publicly made it known that all the players were movable. That no one's job was safe, and they didn't make a single move, not a single trade. Such idiots.
So the biggest difference between Miami and New York is every team makes mistakes. No team is perfect, and no team signs every contract right. And everyone falls for the sauce, right? Riley fell for the Dion JJ. Everyone has moments. It's, can you maneuver your way out of unfavorable situations to put yourself in a winning position? Do you have a pedigree that people want to be with you and respect you as an organization? And I think that's that's one of the biggest differences between the Knicks, because players want to be here. Good players want to be here. Jimmy wanted to be here, right? Good players want to be here. And the organization is able to get off of their mistake contracts easily. And partly because they use their undrafted market really well, they hit on a lot of their draft picks post LeBron. They have been really good at helping talent develop here. So they're not up against the gun with they're married to this draft pick, right? Because a lot of teams won't trade Winslow because, a certain regime might be stuck to that draft pick. And that happens a lot, right? So you draft the guy and that's your guy, and you better hope and pray that that guy works out, because if he doesn't, then you're fired, right? And because the Heat have stability and all that stuff, they are free to make moves. And because they have so many incoming young players, that they're able to kind of do things and get off things that they don't want to get off, pretty easily. So, I think we've given that awful franchise enough talk for the night. We do have a couple things, Siobhan, that I thought were interesting tonight. So, Gabe Vincent has, again, not a great shooting night. And I thought the fan base was a little bit unfair to him tonight. They won the game, and I thought he's been and you pointed out, he's a much improved playmaker. He competes on defense. I think he had a little bit of slippage before All-Star break tonight. None of that. What do you think there? Because I think the fan base is being totally unfair to him because he's had a couple rough nights. Let him work through his first rough stretch.
I think so too. So at the start of the season or what have you, he was the defensive specialist, right? Fans were upset he wasn't shooting well. He got off to that one game. He hit the three. He kicked his foot out. The three went in, but they called it off. They called it offensive, and from there he kind of took off shooting. And you're absolutely right. There had been a stretch so his defense was here, offense was here, brought his offense up a bit. There was a point where his defense slipped a bit. He had a lot of undisciplined closeouts, really bad, lazy defensive feet, not taking good angles with guys, bumping at the wrong times and losing leverage. And I think tonight and over the last couple of games too, I've noticed. I feel like his defensive principles are back. He's more stout. He's a little less jumpy, a bit more grounded, a bit more present, and just feels, for me at least, I'm kind of back in the defensive air that he was, and yeah, he's currently in a rough shooting stretch, and I do think fans are being unfair, but that's the nature of fans. People wanted to be gone with him and be done with him forever ago, and so I'm not surprised. I don't even care that y'all give him grace or not. I don't care, and I know that he doesn't care. But it doesn't make sense to be this undulating with your opinions and using your feels of these dudes. It's a lot that people can't actually imagine, and he'll be fine. I think he'll come out of this little stretch. He hit 2 tonight, I think, or maybe 1. His playmaking. Just his touch with his passes, his decisions when he gets in the lanes, he's actively manipulating defensive coverages now, whereas before he was more passively but accurately reading them. Now he's actually anticipating and kind of making defensive pawns move the way that he wants, and he's had great chemistry with his big men. I think a lot of the stuff that fans have been giving him is a bit undeserved, but I'm not surprised.
He was 2 for 5 tonight and a plus 21. I thought it was kind of weird that the fan base was doing that. Yeah. But Siobhan, it's kind of like Duncan. You know what I mean? Like the fan base, Duncan has a bad stretch and everyone just gets mad at him.
We're not going to do that. I know what you're doing, but
I'm not doing anything. I'm just saying that
no. I'm not saying that I know what you're getting at in comparison. Not that you're trying to do anything, but I don't even want to do that. But I get what you're doing.
We also got to stop lumping Duncan and Gabe into the same pot.
That's what I'm trying to say.
The expectations are totally different.
Thank you.
From what they should be. Realistically, what you expect from Duncan, you shouldn't be expecting from somebody that's coming off your bench. That's just the reality of it. And it's emotions are going to swing like a pendulum, and people are going to be mad at Gabe for no reason, because Literally, I don't care if he scores nothing. As long as he plays defense and plays hard, that's what he's there for. He's not there to be giving you 20 points. So nobody should be complaining about his point production at all, because realistically, you got like 6 other dudes that are supposed to be scoring for you.
For real.
Yeah. So that's how I look at it. And as far as Duncan goes, he had a bad game.
Yeah.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not call it anything else. He had a really bad game. And the reality is, they can't afford bad games right now. The starters need to start pulling it together and not all of a sudden having mental breakdowns against like RJ Barrett and the Barretts. Like they shouldn't be doing that.
There was
Go ahead, Shy. Go ahead, Shy. I'm on the train. You go ahead.
After the point, I'll be quick. There was a little floater post. I don't know if it's accurate or not about them aiming to be bringing their people that's been out back within like the first couple weeks of March. And I really feel like Keith, Vic, it's, you know, like we can say names, we can be real. Like these are the people we're talking about. I'm tired of people in the YouTube comments. Oh, we're talking about Vic. He hasn't been here since. Stop. Come on. Like he's right there. But yeah, like they're like looking to bring those dudes back, you know, first couple weeks of March or whatever. And so this is absolutely the time for the starting 5 to be coalescing and like sticking together and figuring it out more so that they can. The 2 of them could be ready for all we know now. But the first 5 isn't gelling, right? So you can't like bring in another really big cog until, you know, they kind of. So I'm fully with you.
Yeah.
So
and like,
I didn't mean to put you off too.
Well, I wasn't going to say much. Like the moral of the story is this team's looking to win a championship. So the season's 82 games, plus they're looking to win 16 more. So like Siobhan was saying, we can't just live and die by small sample sizes. Game 2, 4, 6, whatever it is. Gabe is in a little offensive slump. He'll be fine. 2 for 5 today is not bad.
You're very good. It's 40% from 3. Yeah, I think he was like 33 from the field overall. But I mean, what matters to me is, you know, what are you shooting from 3? Are you playing defense? Are you doing the little things like playmaking and stuff like that, which, you know, they do. And like, you know, Duncan had a bad game, but I think early in that, do you guys remember that 2-man game he had with Bam, where it was like pitch, screen, handoff, you know, trap, slip pass. That's where he's great, right? And like that pass and the Bam, you know, Bam was doing that with the intention of scoring, which I think is a good kind of shift for him as well. He was going at guys' chests tonight in space. I thought that was really promising too. And listen, guys, you know, we're first place in the Eastern Conference again today. Yeah. You know, and I said this in pregame, the Models, I don't remember if it's 538 or who. Models have the Heat getting the 1 seed at like 60%. They're like the overwhelming favorite to finish the East with the 1 seed. Chicago's schedule is brutal. They have like Sixers, Bucks, Heat, like back to back to back, and then like Cleveland as their like rest game, and then they're right back playing I think the Suns, right? So their schedule is absolutely fucking brutal. Milwaukee has the hardest schedule by record left in the league, and they're the 5th seed. Right, Brooklyn has a shit ton to figure out, and Philly, you know, they look pretty good tonight, but they're still incorporating a lot of pieces. And when things get rough, when you have a lot of new pieces, that's going to take a second to gel. So Miami's in a great spot right now. They have the most home games left. They won 6 games on the road in a row. That is the most since the Big 3 era. That's insane.
That's wild.
That's wild. They have been exceptional all year, and no team is perfect because they're far from it, but it's just hard to not watch them on a night-to-night basis and not think that this team is like poised to either win a title or knock on the door. They go into teams with half-hearted efforts and they come out winning. They go into the best team's gym and they run them out of it. Phoenix, Brooklyn, you know, Utah, you know, the list goes, Chicago. The list goes on and on. They've had so many impressive road wins for a team that's so dominant at home. I think they have like the 3rd or 4th best home record in the entire NBA. They are going to have a home playoff seed, it looks like. They might even have the number 1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference with their dominant road record and with just a slew of impressive home wins. Kenny, dude, they have been, I mean, better than I think any of us could have thought. And I thought all of us thought that they would be really good.
Yeah, I've been saying since preseason, this is a championship team. And I understand they do have the flaws. The half-court offense, all the numbers say the half-court offense is not as bad as I thought it was.
No, it's not. And they haven't even been healthy, Kenny.
Yeah, and so they have their flaws. They have their questions. Switching teams bother them. I'm sure Eric Spoelstra can figure that out, though. But the thing to keep in mind, and why I've been saying they're a championship team, what you really need for a championship is defenders all over the place, and you need multiple options to score. And so the good thing, like to go back a little earlier, they're not living and dying by dunking threes anymore. So they go to and when he's not hitting, okay, we're going to Jimmy now. We may go to Bam now. Bring Tyler off the bench and see what he can do. And so they have the options too. And so let's say Jimmy is having a bad game. Now Bam knows he's able to get in there, get his points, get to the line. He had a D-Wade pump fake into a foul today. Fucking chef's kiss.
This is also a D-Wade pump fake into an offensive foul.
That's true too. But I'm gonna give him credit. I'm gonna start off giving him credit. And so this is a championship caliber team. Now, it's going to depend on the bracket they get, but I also don't think they should be scared of anybody.
I want to pause for a second. Slumpin, Slobinson, bro, we barely beat the Knicks. They fucking won by 15 on the road and they sleepwalk. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here.
I can't look at that without seeing that my name. Put that back up. All I see is my
No,
name.
that's Slumpin Robinson. That's Duncan Robinson. That's all.
I just see Siobhan.
I don't see Siobhan.
Where
do you see Siobhan?
Well, I mean, that's kind of how they spell it in YouTube comments.
All the letters are right there.
That's how they spell her name in YouTube comments.
I read Slumpin, Duncan, Slobinson, Robinson.
I know. It's just they look the same.
I swear I thought it was Siobhan's name at first. And also,
that's the only one I got because the fucking Andy, the Andy Ellisberg one I never get. I can't read that. It's like my brain just doesn't click for Are you still here? Yeah. Schmandy Schmellisberg. It's like it's hard for me to read. Schmeed the Smolnik I got.
I also
a Schmiffany Smeeks.
I also want to say like another thing that I think we should mention to show that this was kind of a rusty game for us, like we need to get back in the swing of things, was the free throw shooting. Now, I don't want to sit here and like blame I don't want to be that guy to like blame shit on free throws, but it was unusually bad tonight. We have been a very good free throw shooting team this year, and we shot 74% tonight. Like we missed 9. On
a trip.
It was unusual. So I'm just pump the brakes. Like, yeah, we beat the Knicks, but we also beat the Knicks when someone went fucking supernova. So fucking you pump the fucking brakes, all right? Like,
go ahead.
Shut up.
Just Jared says, how long is Tip Subway, right?
Mind your business, Jared.
Yeah, like
let me just say something that I was never gonna say all year because I don't want G to be feeling himself.
Oh.
But I saw something tonight that has made me change my way of thinking about this team and how far they're gonna go. Because I saw something tonight that I did not expect to see. I saw Buns look over at Jimmy and say, "You ain't shooting, I'm shooting." That right there, that's how you're going to win your championship.
Yeah.
Because somebody has to say, "You're not doing it, I'm doing it." And he was jacking the hell out the shots. He was coming down. I don't know if he was crossing over or if it was just slow-mo because he old. But he was doing things. And G, I'm going to give you some credit. That's as far as the credit goes.
No, keep going. I like this.